Shabbat Shalom, everybody. The last couple of drashas I have done for the Chavarah have been big picture looks at a particular Torah portion. Today, I'd like to take a 180-degree turn and do something completely different. Today, I'd like to look at just one word and try to figure out what that one word might mean today in contemporary Hebrew as we use it in the synagogue versus what it might have meant at biblical times. It is found in Exodus chapter 23, verse 14. And the word in Hebrew is Tachot. And the translation of the whole verse is, for 3 festivals, Tachot for me, God, that is, every year. The question becomes, obviously, what does Tachot mean? In Hebrew, almost every single root of a word has 3 letters. And those 3 letters in all of its permeations, 80% of the time are related, if not the same meaning, slightly different to make it a verb, an adverb, a different kind of verb to accentuate it, to make it causative. But that one root can really help you define that word in every single permeation. And so the shorish of the word is chet, gimel, gimel, which has a couple of meanings. In the Torah, which is obviously what we're reading from, it almost always refers to the 3 times a year that one brings a sacrifice to God in the temple, just like it does in today's portion. Exodus 23, 14 through 17. You shall tachog 3 times for me a year. For the chag, same shorish, of Passover, you shall guard it for 7 days. You shall eat matzah as I have commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Aviv when you left Egypt. And you shall not appear before my face empty-handed. And in the chag, same shorish, of the harvest of the firstborn of your work, of what you sowed in the field, and the chag, again, the same shorish, of the ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in the results of your work from the field, referring to Sukkot and Shavuot. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the face of Adonai. So here you can see tachog is the verb, chag is the noun of the same shorish, the same root, right? That is referring to the 3 times you shall do something for the something of these holidays in Jerusalem at the sacrificing of the temple. At this point, many of you have made the connection between this word and the common greeting Chag Sameach that we use for almost every single Jewish celebration. My question is, does Chag refer to every Jewish celebration? Is it just exchange for Moed, which in the Torah means appointed time, or does it refer only to particular Jewish holy days? It might be interesting to note in the Talmud, when one is referring to Sukkot, one refers to Hechag, the holiday with capital letters. Because for in the Bible and early rabbinic literature, Sukkot was the most important holiday of the year. Although there is a secondary meaning for the word Chag, referring to celebration, drinking, getting drunk, which apparently was part of those holy day celebrations in Jerusalem, just not the ones that were mandated, it is clear that it is secondary use and never found in the Torah, but is found in later biblical works. It might also be interesting that the Arabic cognate is Hajj. Hajj has the same root as Chag, meaning a pilgrimage. According to Chabad, the laws of a Chag only apply to Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot. Now they add Rosh Hashanah, Shmini Atzeret, and Simchat Torah. Rosh Hashanah makes sense because it's found in the Torah. What's interesting, and so does Rosh Hashanah and Shmini Atzeret makes sense because they're both biblical holidays. What's interesting is they add Simchat Torah, which is a medieval holiday added much, much later to the same laws as a Chag. They wrote it back in, even though it never would have been intended to be part of the original Chag. Later on, in modern Hebrew, it took on the meaning to leap, to dance. This root means to make a circle or move in a circle. So in Israel today, it is an anachronism. The dialing of phones is called chiyut, and an area code is an ezrat chiyut, the area of a chiyut. From the idea of a circle of people, we get the word chug, meaning club or class. Why would anyone care about this? Truly is the question many of you are asking at this point. It's on Purim, and I really do hope you will join us. It is going to be a lot of fun for every single generation. It is a totally multi-intergenerational experience. It is going to be virtual. It is going to be funny. Please come. I've been thinking about if all of the celebrations are the same, or is there some benefit of thinking of them as different? So for me, it is the differences in the differences I often find meaning. If every appointed time all year around was the same Chag, then after a while they would all lose meaning. What makes Purim so much fun is that it's not a Chag. There's no prohibition to work or using technology or writing or driving or anything else unless you are drunk, of course. One can just enjoy on the very base level of the word without anything else being limited in any way. There's a freedom to Purim because it is not a Chag. Passover that arrives exactly 1 month later is a day that is filled with all kinds of restrictions. Freedom comes not from the absence of rules like during Purim, but rather by playing within the context of all the statutes of the Chag and finding the meaning within the cleaning, changing dishes, planning the seders, cooking the food, and gathering, God willing, someday soon with friends and family, even though not this year, or at least not in real 3D. Robert Frost wrote, "Writing free verse is like playing tennis with the net down." Whether or not I agree with his denigration of free verse, I'll leave that for another draft. For here today, I think there is value in saying some of the magic of tennis is the challenge of tennis, the net. Some of the magic of the Chagim, the real Chagim, Passover, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Sukkot, Shmini Atzer, and Simchat Torah, are the limited times a year they appear, the restriction of the nets, and the ability to find the unique shots in each and every one of them. So this Shabbat, as you study about the Chagim, as you get ready to join us for Purim, did I mention Purim's coming up? As you remember that Passover follows quickly behind, think about what defines Chag for you and make your Chagim bring you closer to God, community, and the sacred path you have chosen. After all, no one could close its Shabbat drash with Chag Sameach. For today, like every Shabbat, is sacred, holy, and Shabbat. So therefore, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Be safe, be well.